Hello and welcome to Camp Xbox. During the Xbox 360 era, you have notable awful games such as Leisure Suit Larry or Ride to Hell, yet there are a few that I feel have been forgotten about, probably for good reason. One of those games is Hour of Victory, a derided World War II first-person shooter. I played through this one recently, and let me give you some history along with a review. All footage was captured off of an Xbox 360, and I want to thank my YouTube channel members for their support. Let's go ahead and hop into this one.
Although Steckler was not aboard the Sieg when you sank it last year, we did recover a large amount of coded material.
You guys cracked that stuff yet, or do you need us to do that too?
Having just decoded it, we now know...
By 2006, the World War II shooter had been done to death. It had become a running joke that the genre was dead to the industry. Yet Midway had been working on a World War II shooter at least around 2006, showing off an untitled World War II game at that year's E3. IGN would get a sneak preview of it, and Midway said that its primary release target would be the PC. The game wouldn't make an appearance in notable publications or websites until early 2007 after this. The production had switched focus over to the Xbox 360, but some places still stated that a PC and PS3 release was on the way. Every single article I read leading up to this game complains about World War II shooters. I mean, a hands-on preview by IGN opens with another World War II game? Great. The world clearly was not dying for another one. Yet executive producer Mark Caldwell would say that this was more of a mix of Indiana Jones and Saving Private Ryan than anything, meaning that it was trying to capture an old Hollywood popcorn action flick over a deep look into the war itself. It was being developed by Infusion Interactive, who had made a few games, most of them being Cabela's hunting games. This game was not looked heavily into by outlets, but they were interested in the three characters you can swap between and how they all traverse levels differently. And it would come out in North America on June 25th, 2007, with European and Australian releases the same month. A PS3 release was cancelled, and a PC release was nowhere to be seen at this time, but we'll get into that in the lasting impact section. I had actually never heard of this game until I bought it a few weeks ago. I saw it, thought it looked odd, and I had never even seen this anywhere. I did some research and come to find out it's considered one of the worst Xbox 360 games ever made, and I couldn't believe I missed out on it. So I had to play through this one, and let me tell you how it was, starting with the plot.
Berlin, and when Allies win war, meltdown. Bad like poison, radiation kill many peoples. Russian soldiers, German soldiers, all peoples make Berlin a wasteland.
The Allies are going to win in a matter of days.
Steckler must know that.
We have to disable that reactor now.
This is not your traditional World War II shooter with war documentary stock footage. This one feels like a 60s war flick about a group of three specialists joining together to take out Nazis. Here you get Special Operations Officer Taggart, who is a covert soldier, SO Officer Black Bull, who is a sniper, and Ross, who is a commando. All three bring stealth, sniping, and full combat to the team's skill set, even though only one goes through a mission, which is the one that you choose. I think the setup is neat. It should pay off in gameplay by supplying variety, and it allows for a team-up of a mix of personalities. The intro is intriguing too, where the team is built up to take on an evil Nazi project that seems to be bent on destroying the world. And honestly, it's not explained the best, and is a sign of how the plot gets lost as you go on. I mean, they start explaining the project, and all of a sudden you are attacked in the middle of it, and the sneak attack by the Germans is 33% of your gameplay, and this section has nothing to do with the plot. It's fine, but that setup is only 2 sections of this game, and a boss fight, and there's minimal cutscenes. Sometimes I give the excuse that the focus isn't the story on some games, but I do think the story was meant to be a focus here. There were aspirations for something interesting, especially when throwing in movies like Indiana Jones as inspirations. But this plot is so lazy and disjointed that it makes zero sense. Of course, I can follow that we're the good guys and we kill Nazis. Great, that's understandable. But there are talks about a project and you clash with your officers, and this game even has a villain that has no presence till the end of the game. This game maybe took me a little over 2 to 3 hours to beat, and nothing in it after the first section fit together. I'm gonna blame this on it being rushed, because this game is much shorter than the plot it wants to take on. Maybe things were cut out and that's why the story is incoherent, but it makes for a weak follow through for a decent idea. A squad focused war shooter is a fun idea, but the plot takes some of the fun out of it. This game is level-based, with some of it being vehicle-based missions, but most are shooter missions. Most of these levels ask you to pick between 3 characters, and I will say at the start that they are all a little different. Taggart has a knife and can open lockpick doors, Bull can snipe and climb ropes, and Ross has more health and can push heavy objects. Every level has moments like these where the path is split based on who you choose. Most of the time though, it doesn't matter. This is all illusion of choice. You pick a door and you end up in the same path. Every choice here changes nothing. Maybe the sniper has a bit more because you can be on one rooftop for a little bit sometimes, but it's very weak. It's sad because this game's greatest hook is that each level can be tackled in different ways by different characters, but instead it chooses the lazy route where all your choices funnel you back to the same place. That's strike one already, but let me tell you, I didn't dislike this game at first. At first, it just felt like a bland shooter. The controls are what you expect of the era. Click a stick to aim, shoot, and run around. You can pick up enemy weapons, and enemies appear all around you. It's as basic a shooter as you can get, and I do have a soft spot for shooters. It's not reinvigorating anything, but I found the controls and general gameplay to be fine. The AI is simple and easy to kill and will run at you at all angles, but it's fine in its simplicity. Yet this was my feelings in the first part of the campaign, and some ugly elements started to rear their head as I moved along. Healing in this game has to be one of the worst elements here. They went for a recharging health system, which Call of Duty was bringing along. No med packs, you just heal with time. In COD, it works because it's fast and you can move. Here, you have to stand completely still, and it takes around 10 seconds to go through this. It might not sound like a lot, but when enemies just run at you, waiting still for that long is torturous. You cannot move a muscle. You just stare and wait. And this is horrible gameplay design because you do nothing. It's healing, so it's not going to be particularly fun, but the fact that you have to stare at a wall or door and just watch paint dry is brain-racking. Throw in the basic shooting when you aren't healing, and it's never quite satisfying to play. Killing enemies is easy and predictable, with no location really having an interesting layout. It's as basic as you can get in terms of level design. Also, the last hour and a half of this becomes a glitchy mess. There's a definitive point where I officially dislike this game. I remember talking about this game and saying, sure, it's bland and not great, but it's not the worst. The tank mission is where everything changed. You ride on a tank with no health, and you run through a gauntlet over and over to try to beat this level. One way they thought they could remedy this is that you can leave your tank and shoot, but don't do that because if they hit your tank just a little bit, it's over. And I'm pretty sure your health becomes one shot on the tank when you get out. It's a hard level and it can bring the game down, but what really brings it down are glitches. I got stuck in this level multiple times with my tank not moving over terrain and getting stuck on objects, and it happened so much that it ruined any feelings I had for this game. It wasn't just the tank level for me, but after this point, I noticed more and more glitches with soldiers getting stuck on objects, and I was also getting stuck on objects. It was painful to play, and it feels like there was no spot checking here, and what we have is a complete mess in the back half that takes a bland shooter with an illusion of choice and just makes it worse. Just plain, miserable, and unfinished. It has no ingenuity. Some bad games, you could tell they were trying something, it just didn't work. But here, this is them just selling a broken and unfun game. And I should add on that this game had online multiplayer on launch, and it still looks like you can play it today, but I was unable to find any matches or make any sessions, so I didn't get to try this online, and it won't factor into the review. But if you played this one online, be sure to let me know how it was in the comments below. For 2007, I think the visuals are not the best of the year, but they're not the worst of all time. It screams budget title, especially with the character designs. Many of them lack definition and are not really pleasant to look at. I don't think it's helped that there's cheap animations used here, and it makes for weak cutscenes. Though I think the actual environments are okay. I think the lighting shines through, especially in one of the levels that's in a dark tunnel. There's a bit of variety in the 3 campaigns, from desert to snow to bunkers. You do see new things. The environment can be a bit messy though, with some of the textures being low quality and elements tend to blend together. One rough thing about the visuals though is the frame rate. When this game gets busy, it takes noticeable dips. As said before, I don't think there was any spot checking, and the dipping frame rate was looked over. The visuals are fine, but definitely could have been better, and the characters especially needed to bring more, especially for being a character-based shooter. One good thing here is the music. Jason Graves, who has put good work into the industry, does a good job here. He captures a typical wargame soundtrack. It's got a lot of bravado and horns, and it's nice. I can't complain there, but some levels do loop the song pretty poorly, making for a bit of a messy background, though it doesn't matter because I found the sound effect work to be really inconsistent here. Things like bullets and battle noises are mixed way too loud. War games should be loud, but as a comparison to how a good war game does it, Call of Duty is loud, but it's dynamic and it surrounds you. It feels like bullets are on both sides of your ears and it works into the environment. Here it's just loud, but all in one channel and just raised high, which is headache-inducing. It's not put together in a way that makes it feel like war, but instead it just feels like loud speakers right in front of you playing bullet noises. Yet there's the tank mission, where elements like the tank are extremely quiet compared to the environment, and it's quite crunchy too. It seems low quality and they tried to hide it by quieting it down, but it's a tank and that should be loud. See, it's moments like that where it's just inconsistent. The voice acting is pretty bad overall too, but it's so infrequent that it's not the worst part of the game. It's cheesy lines delivered by bad voice actors. I do love some of the moments because it brings in some comedy, like when you select a character where they give off a cheesy line.
You up for some target practice?
I think it's silly and unnecessary. Just overall, with audio, it's messy. I usually give some benefit of the doubt and find the glimmers of hope. I even felt that for the first bit of this game, saying it's playable. Still, when I started forming my opinion, writing it down, and I'm saying it for this audio, I'm realizing why this game is considered awful and why I agree. A game like this was why Midway shut down. Years in production and what seems to be tons of money spent, and all you get is a rushed product that is completely broken. A barely playable game session is here. There's an idea, some spark with the story, and it died due to a rush to get this game out. This game being released by Midway, to me, is insulting. Promoting a game with multiple paths, huge battles, and exhilarating vehicle missions, it's all simply a lie put out to take money for an unfinished game that had no right to be released. I wasn't even there, and this game makes me upset. I don't recommend you ever play this game. On my Xbox 360 ranking list, where I rank every Xbox 360 game I've reviewed, this game goes right at the bottom of the ranking list at number 24. I haven't reviewed any truly awful 360 games fully here, and I feel like this ranking list is front-loaded with great games. And though I don't like Dark Void, I do think there is a considerable gap in terms of quality here. At least Dark Void has an interesting and useful gameplay hook. Hour of Victory really brings nothing to the table. Our Victory came out to generally unfavorable scores according to Metacritic. According to its positivity bar, it did not even receive a single positive review and only a few neutral reviews. IGN gave it a 5.7, saying that the AI and level design was bad, but it was more mediocre than awful. GameSpot gave it a 2, saying it was buggy, ugly, and offered no lasting value. In September 2007, writer Cameron Lewis for Official Xbox Magazine gave it a 2.5, saying that it was ugly, had awful sounds, and was filled with glitches. Altogether, Our Victory did not come out to great reviews and has been heralded as one of the worst of 2007. This game would not sell well at all, only selling around 130,000 copies. This would be a bad sign for Midway, which after this game and a few others in 2007, they would lose $33 million. Midway would declare bankruptcy at the turn of the decade, and Our Victory was one big stepping stone towards that. Though Infusion still is around, their future was not determined by this game. They still release small indie games to this day. Nowadays, I don't see this one come up often at all, and if it does, it is not in a positive light. On Backlogged, it holds a 1.4 out of 5 with 49 players, and it's devoid of any good reviews, which in my opinion is well deserved. But that wraps it up for today. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a comment if you have any memories with this game, like this video as it really helps me out in the algorithm, subscribe to keep up with retro Xbox content, and be sure to check out my second channel, Camp Extras, for more retro content. And I want to give a huge shout out to my YouTube channel members. Thank you so much for your support. You really help out the channel. And I'll see you here next time at Camp Xbox.